what's up, everybody out there? You already know what time it is. You already know who it is. Here Comebacks, 2Ks, Creating Greatness podcast. Had a lot of topics backing up, man. We've been having a lot of amazing guests. I was just talking to Jason Swartz. He's a nutritionist out of Quebec, Canada. We're going to have him coming on the show, coming up, talk about his transition from dark to light. We just had Alyssa Marie Gibson, a quantum hypnotist. That episode's probably going to be out before this one, where she just talks about the journey, the magical journey of actually getting hypnotized by her. You make your own decisions. And then the one before that, we had Earl Burney, classically or traditionally trained Tibetan Buddhist. And he explains how Buddhism helped him change his life from one of party-going, drug dealing to a healer, peace giver, and a meditation teacher. So that episode is very exciting as well. And I have more guests lined up for like all this summer, but just too many topics that are getting backed up on my phone, things that I'm very passionate about, that I want to speak to you all about, things that have been, boggling my mind, filling my notebooks, filling my phone. Making those lists. Make sure you're making those lists. That way, your dreams and goals are more likely to get achieved. The first one is God saw it. A lot of times we slow it down. Very high energy. Things have been going in a very rapid pace. Sometimes when things are going in such a rapid pace, we got to take his breath. Things are going on with the kids starting school soon. Things are going on with the podcast. Things are going on at my wife's job. Things are going on in the world. We all need this time. And I know listening to Creating Greatness podcast, you could get revved up with me, and there's always time for that. That's how we accomplish things in this world. Intensity, vision, strength. But, oh, man, none of that would be possible if we weren't able to let God take control of the wheel sometimes. Just take that breath and have faith. Do that with me here, and we're going to get into this topic. God saw it, A lot of times, working in the world, we're putting forth effort. We're being kind, being loving. We're working out. We're meditating, praying. We're going to the gym. We're eating healthy. We're putting in that extra effort at work, even though you may not be getting compensated as much as the work that you're putting in. You're doing it because that's just your integrity. That's your work ethic. We've learned these things are beneficial to us, regardless of what's going on in external circumstances, and who's treating us what type of way. Putting forth that extra effort for us, man. Having that high standard of life and that strong work ethic, it just makes our life better. So we're not going, hey, I'm only doing this much, or I'm only going to, squeeze by and do the bare minimum. We don't want to be one of those bare minimum folks. Those bare minimum folks are part of the problem that's degrading society. Take the extra step, wave hello, say, have a good day. How are you? Pick up that piece of trash, do that extra piece of work that everybody's avoiding because they're being petty, because we stand like giants amongst common men and women. When we behave in this way, we don't look down and dismiss others, but still we are viewed as such because we hold ourselves to such a high regard. And it's something that no one could take away from us. No one could take it away. No one could dock our pay. Nobody could look down on us for this, because this is the character that we are building, the integrity to do the right thing, even when nobody's looking, because that is the topic God saw. And no matter what God you believe in, whether you believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ or any of the multitudes of things that are going on out there, the universal energy, the creator of all things, we all put our personal label on, and that's okay. But it counts. It's watching. It knows. It responds. It is an intelligent energy. It's like people say, play with the universe. When you play with the universe, this means putting out different vibes, putting out different energies, putting out different efforts. The universe, God, responds to thoughts, deeds, actions, doing things differently, you know? Because when you do things differently, you start to see different results. And then you can start to tailor your life in that way. Like, okay, this worked well, this didn't. You know, I was on a roll this week when I did these things and thought these things and behaved in this way. Not so much now. You know, I can pinpoint it on a map in my life when I'm on top and I'm firing on all cylinders and I'm creating wonderful content and on days when I'm pushing through. You know what I mean? And then I can look back and say, well, you ate this, did that, or you slept this way, you didn't meditate, you know, you skipped the workout, you skipped the sauna, you know, maybe you skipped the cold shower or the breathing exercises. Because when we build our routine, build our foundation, those things that I just mentioned are mine, and I advocate them very much. I feel like they're a great generalization for feel good, working out, cold showers, breath work, hitting the sauna, you know. But that's the recipe, that's the formula that we all have. Now, like I said, all those things are great generalizations that will work for most folks. But maybe you have to tweak it. Maybe you have to twist it. Maybe you have to change it. Maybe you have to do something different to it to integrate it into your life and make it work for you. But that really is the only way to succeed, is finding your formula, putting it together, and having the discipline to always rely on it and fall back upon it. Sometimes we're doing these things, man, and we're not getting the credit that we feel like. We're not getting compensated on the job, even though we're putting in that extra effort. I'm not getting the subscribers, the likes, the comments, and all this nonsense that's associated with doing a podcast and doing social media to promote it that I feel like I deserve. Is anybody witnessing this effort? Does anybody care? Is it actually worth it? Now, these questions, while they're very valid to ask yourself and answer, we all have these internal dialogues. You're not crazy. Just make sure the conversation is a nice one, is a supportive one, is an encouraging one, but a strong and disciplined one that doesn't feed bullshit to the other side of the mind, or whatever you want to call it. We all have these conversations, but going too far down that rabbit hole to where it gets whiny or complaining, now you're shifting the energy to a foul place. Self-analyzation, analyzing of situations is how we succeed. And negative questions are necessary to be true. Without the light, there, the dark and the light. Without each other, either one will dissipate. So we need that balance to create harmony within our lives. But going too far down one side, it could lead you to defeatism. I'm not seeing the success that I want. I'm not achieving the results that I feel like I deserve. I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to quit. And that is where sometimes those negative questions and thoughts can lead to if we are not careful. So one thing that I always rely on is that I know God is watching. I know God knows the way that I'm behaving. I know God knows that I'm fighting these negative thoughts. I know God knows that I'm being extra kind and loving to my family and others. And whether they noticed it with a smile or a wave or a tip of the cap, God saw it. God saw it. And I know that counts. And like I said, whether you believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ or not, I believe that the universe, the intelligent energy that creates and runs through all things in the universe, responds to these behaviors and treats you different. So whether you're experiencing it in the real world through numbers and analytics, or in the physical world through human interaction, maybe not, but the universe will treat it as such, and you will begin to notice opportunities arising, peace in moments of where you normally maybe would be frustrated, calm in the middle of the storm when some people are running around frantic. And this is the real payout, folks. This is the real wealth, peace of mind, love in your heart, a soul full, abundant of the gifts of the universe, the natural world. So if you're not experiencing the success of the results in a physical, material realm, just focus on everything else that you have and that you're grateful for and that are fruits of your labor. And when your gratitude for those things starts to really just sap your being and expand throughout you just do to get more. It's just pile on the blessing. Now, I was in church the other day, and the preacher was talking about sacrifice for the sake of grace. And it really resonated with me because I have this battle many, many days. There are things that I could be doing to further my agenda in this world. My agenda in this world is my vision. It's my farm. It's something that I've been talking about for a very long time. And I believe that it's very important for everyone to have their farm or their vision of the future, of what the future might be like if we work hard enough, if we strive enough, if we are consistent enough and unwavering, because holding on to the vision is the most important thing. A lot of times as human beings, we are not always exactly sure what we want. One week we want this thing, the next week we want that thing. And in that way, the universe gets very confused. So even if your thoughts, actions, and deeds are in alignment with spiritual harmony, and normally when the universe would work in your favor, because you're uncertain, because you're wavering, because you're fluctuating in what you actually want and you actually desire on a deep level, it doesn't know what the handover. So it's very important that we have this vision and that we are unwavering in our approach to it. But throughout the days, the steps could be small, but it can be arduous. You may not have all the resources that you need. You may not be in a position to pull the trigger on the real moves that would concrete your dream. So those steps could be a little more boring. They could be a little more dreary. They could be a little more monotonous. They could just be preparing yourself in the best possible way and seem unrelated to your goal. Totally. I feel that way some mornings when I can't make any financial moves. I'm on a strict budget. I'm planning and following through. And the best thing that I know that I could do is put myself in a position for when the opportunity rises that I can strike. And to me, that is meditating, doing breath work, making sure I'm praying, making sure I'm getting physical exercise, make sure I'm getting out here, getting sunlight and viewing my feet in the ground, the sun on my skin. Even right now, out here dripping sweat. I'd rather be outside in the elements. I'd rather be putting myself through some difficulty because when times are hard, I'm going to excel. And when times are easy, I'm going to just coast through. That is the whole purpose behind training and putting yourself through difficult situations. When you're hopping in the cold shower, when you're hopping in the sauna, and you're purposefully putting yourself through these difficult situations, it's so that when times are easy, things are going good, and you're on a roll, you're crushing it with very little effort. That means your effort and energy could be diverted to other things, more interesting things, more exciting things. And when times get hard and everyone's running around frantically, you're still operating effectively. And that's what creating greatness is really all about. Operating effectively in every aspect of life. But through that process, there are some down days. There are some boring days. There are some days where our energy is not at top level. That's when we really have to sacrifice. That's when you may be overeating a little bit. You may be watching a little bit too much TV. You may be scrolling social media a little bit. And just like the preacher was saying, we can sacrifice that time, whether it be a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a half an hour, and dedicate it to grace. And his examples of this were very similar to mine. Spend your time in prayer. Spend your time volunteering, whether it be at a church or be at a soup kitchen or be at your local, town center. Spend your time, for me, even more so than those things. Not more so, but equally to those things. Not more so, but equally. Once again, the prayer, the breath work, the meditation. I think this every night when I'm too tired to meditate. I say, every time you deny yourself a meditation because you're tired or whatever, you're denying yourself an opportunity to be connected to the source, to be in possible communication with God, to maybe level up your life, to maybe enlighten you on some level, to maybe have some universal truth revealed to you. And I sit down and meditate, no matter how tired I am, because I give myself that ultimatum, or that strong of a statement, like, this is what you're doing every time you opt to not meditate or not pray. And it's the same thing with breath work or even a cold shower, because who wants to get a cold shower? Every time you don't do this, you're missing an opportunity to drain your lymph system, to increase your testosterone, and to all these other scientifically proven, uh, increase your dopamine production. All these scientifically proven statistics that are tied to cold water therapy. And the same thing with the sauna. Every time, well, I'm pretty good with the sauna. I actually kind of like it. It's weird, but if I was to not want to go to the gym and do that, because that's where I don't have one here in my home, like denying yourself the release of all these toxins, just getting it out of you so you feel clearer, better, more pure. Purity is the way to success. It especially happens to me if I'm watching TV, because while I'm not one of these, oh, I don't have a TV in my home or I never look at social media, I do very highly regulate these things within my home, not just for myself, but for my children. And hear me out here, because maybe this is the point in a podcast where you're like, hey, this guy's been going, but now you're just getting a little too crazy. I love TV and I do enjoy social media. And I believe that those things can play a place in society without degrading. Like, I enjoy a good action movie. I enjoy a great video game on my PS5. I enjoy some of my friends' reels, posts, catching up on what's happening in their lives on social media. Sometimes when it's positive and it's done the right way, I enjoy that, you know? But, and for my children as well, I don't mind TV being a part of their lives, but it needs to be regulated in some way so that we don't, once again, slip overboard, tip the balance, and be going down a dangerous road, especially for your kids and TV. You have to be very careful with what they're watching. But even myself, I got strayed away from rap music, at least violent rap music. Still listen to a lot of Christian rap. Strayed away from these overly violent TV shows I used to love. It's because we have to be conscious and aware of the energy that we're bringing into our homes, our minds, and our bodies, and our souls, and our spirit. But with all these realizations, it's become easier for me to be looking at TV before 6 p.m. and going, no, there's something else you could be doing. You could be recording a podcast, editing a podcast, you could be working on the business, you could be spending time with your children, like just sitting with them, hanging out. They don't care, and these things are uplifting to the soul. They're vibrationally, increasing your vibration in your household while you're dead, you're lazy, you're eating junk food with the clicker. It's definitely a neutral best energy that you're adding there. So you can sacrifice the negative or neutral and just do something as simple as sitting on the floor with your kids, sitting on the floor quietly, doing some deep breaths, sitting, kneeling and talking to the God of your understanding about, what's happening in your life, all your feelings, all the things you're afraid to say to the world, all the things you will never say to anyone that's living. Let it out. Get it off your chest. Get it out of your soul. Watch the healing begin and the grace start to enter your life. And that's what the good pastor was talking about, man, and we appreciate them. And to piggyback off of the sacrifice that we need to be making to get the work that needs to be done. If you listened to my response to the tragic events in Butler, Pennsylvania, I talked about that. There's work to be done. Now is the time. And I emphasize that point here now, is that if you're paying attention, you're awake, you're aware, you can see how things in the world are happening. in our towns, in our streets, in our cities, especially with our leadership, not just here, but abroad. There is spiritual warfare on every level. Everything to keep you disconnected from your higher self. Everything to keep you separate from each other and God, which is all here together in nature. These things will uplift you, encourage you, make you rise up into something better, especially when we come together with it. And you look at it on any level, wherever you fall on what's happening, however you feel, you gotta feel this importance of this time period. We're alive. We have the privilege to be alive. And to me, that's always the rival, the nemesis to the doom and gloom. Oh man, look at things. Everything's so messed up. Everybody's like this. And, our leadership's like that. And, times are bad. Oh yeah, but what an exciting time to be alive. What an exciting time to be alive. How blessed am I to be chosen to walk this most difficult road with myself and my family and all of my spiritual warriors here on Creating Greatness Podcast. We're here, man. We're here. Because, I was just talking to my buddy Sam from U News Media with the stocks that just got hit. But he says with that stock hit comes great opportunity. During bad times, strong men and strong women may rise to the top and become better, find opportunity, and get rich, get comfortable, get strong, get fit, get happy. Because forget strong and fit and rich. A lot of people just aren't happy. Now's the time to put in the work for you, your family, and your whole entire bloodline. You could be it, man. You could be the breaker of chains that's holding your entire ancestry and everyone to come down in your bloodline tied to the chains of slavery, addiction, poverty, misery, depression, anxiety, fear. We could be the ones to do that. That is an exciting thing, despite the doom and gloom that's going on in the world. The rival, the nemesis, the anti is the excitement and the intensity that I feel and all you should feel about being chosen, being blessed to be here now in this time period with all the modern comforts and conveniences that get a little excited. All the modern comforts and conveniences that we have, but to also on the flip side be able to take this thing back to nature, man. Back to fishing, back to hunting, back to farming, back to small communities living together, tight knitted, back to integrating our elders into our society with our young so that they may learn from each other. That's right. We're going to talk to my friend Carmela Mazzarelli about this topic, the importance of having old with the young and the young with the old. The old learn from the young just as much as the young learn from the old. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, I love that guy, did an experiment like this where they linked up young and old and young and old and young and old and did certain tests, the meditations, breathing. I think they even stayed together during these experiments. And he said in every single case, at the end of it, or at the beginning of it, they were going, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And at the end of it, they were like best friends. And that's real, man. And that's science for all you people who like to follow the science or follow the money, wherever it is. But it's an exciting thing. It's an interesting thing. And we're going to talk about it more right here on Creating Greatness Podcast. It is the time. It is the time in history. It's the time to rise up out of the ashes like the phoenix, man. It's the time to put in the work. It's the time to wake up day in and day out and just do one little thing towards achieving your goal. And, despite all of the struggle, despite all of the pain, despite all of the setbacks, despite all of the failures, we coming. We coming. Make no mistake, the king of comebacks coming. And I know you coming with me. I know someone out there coming with me because I told them they could do it. Right here on Creating Greatness Podcast, man. Hey, we're going to end it right here. I love these little quick 20-minute shows, filling it with vibrancy, vitality, intensity. We all know about having that vision, all my spiritual warriors, man. Make sure you join my group on Facebook, Spiritual Warriors. Follow me, Creating Greatness Podcast on Instagram, King of Comebacks 2Ks. I love y'all. Let's get to work, baby. Peace.